sometimes you experience things in life that are like sink or swim. That's when you somehow, yeah, you know that you have to rely on yourself more in a way, because like you need to be your own support system. Not everyone gets that such a situation in life, but some people do. And that's when I learned about meditation and breathing, all those things. And all of a sudden, I started feeling more confident in myself. Like I was getting ideas. I didn't know where the ideas were coming from, right? What you call like a higher power or, God or whatever, it's coming through you and giving you ideas and helping you out of situations where you wouldn't have necessarily been able to do by yourself. So that's a brand new thing that I discovered about myself. And then I was talking to you, and I didn't walk around telling people about it, right? It's not
Right.
something you talk about. And then you were saying that you had the same thing. I'm like, wait a second. So, there's probably much more people than us, but they're just
Yeah.
not like, sharing it at the dinner table.
Welcome to the CoachMD Podcast. I'm Dr. Charles Glassman, bringing you 3 decades of experience as a physician and a coach. Join us as we navigate the maze of medical advice with real-life stories, empowering you to take charge of your health. In our That Happens segment, guests share transformative experiences, reminding us that we're all human and not just patients. So get ready for a journey into healthcare reimagined, where empowerment and discovery pave the way. Hey, it's Dr. Charles, aka Coach MD. In my over 30 years of medical practice, I've made it my goal to help people create strong minds, healthy bodies, and unshakable spirits. And that's what my guest brings to the table today, and I'm so happy to have her. Miriam Staub is a transforming touch practitioner, and we'll talk a lot about that. But what I really want to get to is the background of it, why she went in that direction, and also we have a great relationship from CrossFit. That's how we know
Yes,
each other. So we're going to talk a lot about that. So, Miriam, thank you so much for coming on the Coach MD podcast today.
of course, my pleasure. I'm so excited to talk about all the stuff that we have in common.
Yeah, it's exciting. And one of the most exciting things, and I have to say, I have to do a little self-promotion. Um,
Okay.
I've, I've talked about this for a while. I wrote a book, 15 years ago now, called Brain Drain, which I published independently, won some awards. It was kind of the intro to what I call the automatic brain, or the AB. And my life in 15 years, obviously I've developed more life experience, other more experiences, and it really prompted me to explore this, even go more deeply. And I wanted to really look into the idea of fear, because I know how fear holds us back in so many aspects of life and is clearly an aspect of the what I call the automatic brain. And so in one day, so anyway, I wrote this book, this manuscript, Fear is a Liar. And
Love it.
to me, it's my coup de grace. It's everything that I've worked on all my life, that I've believed in, that I've developed, and I've put my heart and soul into it. And one day after class, Miriam and I were walking, as we do after a very hard workout. The class
Mhm.
sometimes takes a little walk just to loosen
Yeah.
up a little bit,
Oh,
and
get back
get
to, reality.
exactly slowly get us back into the
Uh-huh.
reality of the real world. And we started talking, and Miriam started telling me a little bit about what she does as a practitioner of TTP, and I started talking about my book, Fear is a Liar. So I decided, okay, why not? It's finished. I'm in the process of pitching it to agents and publishers, but I have it all on a Google Drive. And so I shared it with Miriam, and Miriam is the very first person other than me who has read Fear is a Liar from cover to cover.
Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
yes,
Okay,
you
that's a
are.
surprise. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay,
And I'm
thanks.
so excited because, when you do something that you're proud of and that you feel can help a lot of people, but it's kind of sitting in a vacuum, it's
Right.
like, what is it really doing? And as we'll talk, my spiritual beliefs is I believe very strongly in a higher power, which I call God, and to me, it's in God's hands. Whomever God wants this to see, because that's the wisdom that I
Hmm.
believe from our higher power, the mind, has been gifted to us, and it's in His hands. So, but
I
that
love
said,
that.
I would like to get at least a few people to look at it, and if not a lot of people. But so, Miriam, thank you. I have to thank you for the really, truly heartfelt thank you for taking the time to really go through it, to read it. And what I'd like to ask you is, um, as a transforming touch practitioner and now reading my book, what are some of the things in my book that kind of segue with what you do? And maybe before you even talk about that, tell the viewers here and the listeners kind of what you do as a practitioner in that field.
Okay, right off the bat, I would say I love the idea. Obviously the title of the book, it's Fear is a Liar. Sorry, second. Sorry. So fear is a liar. It's a really strong liar. And, not only a liar, it's a manipulator, a gaslighter. I would say like really up there, like very manipulative, obviously. And I really found like when I read the book, it helped like it really helped me right away to realize how like my autonomic brain, meaning the way my brain is wired since I was born, like going over and over on the same thoughts has kept me back from doing so many things. And that relates directly into the trauma work that I do. So the clients that I see basically have developmental trauma, meaning trauma since they were born, like a lot of neglect, abuse,
Mm,
or sometimes just dysregulated parents. They didn't know any better. So there's a lot of trauma embedded in the body. So what I do is a gentle touch protocol that creates like equilibrium regulation in the body. It's an attachment style model, meaning like my regulated nervous system mirrors the neurons for the client. So we both regulate together, and the client gets a little bit more stamina to be able to self-regulate. If that makes sense. Am I explaining
Well,
it right?
let me back up a little bit because I want to
Okay,
get down to like
let's
the
unpack it.
nitty
Yeah.
gritty, like what's actually
Okay.
what it looks like. Okay, so here you have, and you work with men and women, or do you
No, I only
special
work with women and children,
with women? Okay, okay,
and
so
children also.
and children. Okay,
Yeah.
female children. Yeah.
Till like they get a little older, I wouldn't.
Okay, all right.
Then
Okay, so young
yeah,
boys and girls and adult women.
exactly.
So a client comes to you. Do they
Mhm.
sit on a chair, lie on a table? What's
So first we have like an intake on a chair. And
okay?
then they would tell me, a little bit about themselves. And then they would go onto the table, like a massage table.
Okay.
And I would gently touch certain adrenals, the brainstem, the ankles for a certain amount of time, each and every time. So if in order to get them regulated.
Okay.
Um,
Let me do, I'm sorry. When you
okay.
say so the adrenals, so you mean the
Yes.
physical location of the adrenal glands?
Yes.
You touch, okay.
Yes. On top
And
of the kidney, right on top of the kidney.
gotcha. Okay. Which, so for those listeners and viewers who don't know, that's kind of in the mid back sort of thing on the sides. We call the
Yes. Right
flank
under the rib.
area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right under the ribs. Yeah. Okay. So,
Mhm.
all right. So we got that. Okay. So you're
Yeah.
touching in that area, and is it actually your hands are on them? Are they
Yeah.
hovering? They are. Okay.
So my hands are on them, and the idea is repeating it the same amount of time every single time they come in. So that tells the body that they're safe. There's someone actually holding it for you. Like for example, I'm giving an example. If your knees hurt, right, and you put your hand on your knees, it feels better because it's like supporting it.
Hmm.
Um, it's a hard module to explain, but like all I can say is for me, it helped me tremendously. I've had a lot of trauma. I'm not that old yet, but I've had a lot of trauma considering, and this helped me tremendously. It really, really helped me tremendously regulate it. like me in a like a deeper level. Like my life feels calmer. It's not like a, high anxiety type of living.
Hmm. Yeah. Now, as far as so you're not doing a massage or that sort. You're just
Yeah.
you're gently touching them. And now you said that it's a the same time you're touching the same time each time. So
Yes.
do you set like a time? I this is
Yeah.
kind of the
Okay. Yeah.
like the
Good
nuts and
question.
bolts,
Yeah.
but I'm just
Yeah.
curious to
Yeah.
get
So I do set a timer. It's
okay.
exact timing. So people like usually are very they were had a lot of neglect.
Yeah.
So like being really someone that shows up for them, and for like this amount of time, it's very predictable. Predictability creates safety, and safety creates regulation.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about how that intersects with, the automatic brain, and we're going to call it
Right.
the AB because the A,
Yeah.
this is a good way for people to spot it and to talk about it as the AB. It's a very quick, kind of easy thing to understand when you say the AB. And just to tell you what the automatic brain is our most primitive nervous system wiring. It's our
Mhm.
animal instinct. It's what peruses the landscape 24/7 for any instance of danger, threats, or vulnerabilities. And once it picks it up, it causes us to do two responses, and that's to fight or to flee. And some people will say, well, there's a freeze and there's a fawn. Well,
People
that's
pleasing,
actually
right?
on the spectrum of the fight or
Mhm.
flight because a freeze is when somebody is so overwhelmed, the automatic brain is so overwhelmed that you're actually fighting and fleeing at the same time. So it cancels itself out. So it freezes. And fawn,
Disassociation. Yeah.
I'm
I'm
sorry?
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
That's
I meant like disassociating.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
disassociating. And a fawning is a way to protect the body. It's actually a flight mechanism, and it's to kind of let somebody else get the upper hand because you're too fearful to to stand up, to be assertive. And so this has been wired in our brain since primitive or primitive mankind.
Hmm.
Humankind is it's over 250,000 years old. It's our animal instinct. And it not only responds to what you might think is dangerous, but it's going to detect any possibility of danger. It could be a very low probability of danger, but a high possibility. And the way that our brain processes all our experiences as childhood, it will start reading what might be dangerous to us as an adult. For instance,
Right.
let's say you were in a household where money, for instance, is evil. Money is the root of all evil, and all rich people are bad, and that's the culture of your house growing up. So if you, as an adult, start acquiring money, your brain, your automatic brain, has stored that as something bad, and you may end up fighting and fleeing that that state of whatever, however you earn that. So
Right.
when you talk about the touch and
Hmm.
the comfort, a lot of these times when you're talking about trauma in childhood, it's a
Right.
very disassociated relationship with parent and child. And oftentimes a child is not given that love in a comforting way. In fact,
Hmm.
comfort can be viewed by the AB as dangerous because it may,
Exactly.
right. And so tell us a little bit about that and how that touch um, can kind of short circuit this primitive wiring that we have.
Yes. So as a like a traumatized individual, they don't always know that they're traumatized. They just know like the relationship, they keep sabotaging their relationships. It's going to look like, whatever they get to a certain amount of success, they feel like they're not worthy. And some of their life is not working out and they're not even linking it to trauma. So what I mean to say about touch is like they come in and they're so used to feeling unlovable and like not worthy. So sometimes clients come in and they're like, we start for a minute and a half and they can't take it. Like they literally jump off a table because they're feeling so unsafe.
Mm.
Because they're wired, their autonomic brain is telling them, oh, we're being loved now, not loved. I'm saying we're being comforted, we're being
Yeah.
supported. This is not safe. It's time to run. So what we're trying to do is overriding this, overriding the autonomic brain and making it feel comfortable again in their own skin and safety in their
Yeah.
own body.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
literally what.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you continue. No, I was just
Yeah.
thinking about the money thing that after that also came in. That people sabotage their success, right? Because it's not safe. That means we're gonna have too much money, we're gonna be too stressed. So let's sabotage it.
Yeah.
What do you
And so
think?
the idea of love is interesting because what I identified in my work with the AB is that the
Mhm.
automatic brain, when we're children, the brain uh, develops between birth and adolescence. About
Right.
95% of the brain is set. The wiring is established between birth and adolescence. And the way I have evaluated it, the AB has four folders that in our storage units that it has stored what is going to be dangerous to us. And they're
Mhm.
categories. So one is the one up folder. So when we're children growing up, the household culture that we're growing up in, we're accumulating the experiences are just coming at us, and we don't even know what's being laid down in that folder. What's being
Mhm.
laid down in that folder, person, places, and things are going to be um, one up from us, whether it's better looking than us, stronger than us.
Nicer
Be,
house.
what's
Yeah.
that?
It's like nicer house, nicer
Nicer
car.
house, whatever
Yeah.
it is. Right.
Hmm.
What are those things? So we're going to know what's dangerous to us because
Hmm.
as animals, because that's what the AB does, it's an animal brain, it's going to
Right.
fight and flee anything of that sort because anything like that could destroy us. So are we going to get into a fight or are we going to flee? Those things that are one up from us. We learn that in our childhood culture. Then
Right.
there's the unknown, the abnormal, the uncomfortable folder. So the what's what's the sense of our childhood culture? What's the norm? What's the feeling around that culture? What so for example, if you're growing up in a household where um, people who are skinny are made fun of. And I tell the story in my book how a
Yeah.
patient said that, as an adult struggled with getting more fit. And in her household, every time, because her parents were obese, her brothers
Hmm.
and sisters were obese,
That was
anytime,
comfortable.
yeah,
Hmm.
that was the comfort. So she stored that as comfortable. And if she started straying the other way, her parents would say, "What's getting into you?" And so that brings us to the third category, the loss of love category, okay, or folder. And that's really security. As animals, this brain is an animal brain, the AB.
Hmm.
It, it needs security for protection. And it's it will store whatever it needs to do to get that security. So that's why children will do whatever it takes to get attention because they want to know that their parents are around so they know that they're secure. It's not
Right.
necessarily love. I call it the loss of love folder
Like they
because
try to get sick, right? That's
yeah,
one of the examples.
yeah, exactly. So you could be coddled for being sick. You think and so as an adult, you end up with chronic illness and you don't understand why you can't break it. But your brain has associated being well with not getting security, not getting attention. And there was and I talk about this in Fear is a Liar, an experiment that was done, 20, 30, 40 years ago now. And they had a monkey, or it was a gorilla, and they had a
Mhm.
gorilla, and they took the gorilla away from its mother at birth, but it gave the gorilla anything, everything, or close, maybe. They took it away enough that the gorilla could feed itself and could take care of itself in some ways. Even though they gave that gorilla everything that it needed, it still withered and almost died. And the reasoning behind that is that AB needs the security, needs to feel safe. So it was actually fighting and fleeing being well
Wow.
because
Wow.
it was in danger, the danger. So the security even outweighed the actually physical needs that the gorilla had.
Right.
So it's very
I'm sorry.
powerful. Yeah, very
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, something comes into my mind, like for example, like a zoo animal, right? You free them into the wild, and they're still gonna go on the same, like, 4 feet, 8 feet the most around this, because that's where they're used to. So being out in the wild all of a sudden feels unfamiliar to them because it's not what they're used to. Whether AB is saying it's even though you're free, you can go wherever you want. Let's stay in this little tiny circle because that feels
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, it's the possibility of danger. And so I always tell the patients would come to me and sometimes they'd be really scared. And I want to calm them, but I also want them to ratchet it down so the fear isn't taking over them. And
Right.
so someone might say to me, "Oh, doc, my shoulder hurts. My shoulder, what could it be? Could it be cancer?" Well,
Automatically, yeah.
that's the AB. Well,
hmm
I'd be lying if I said no, it couldn't possibly be cancer, but the probability of that is very low.
But
So,
they also coming back to you because they want your nurturing. So that
yes, yeah,
sometimes they don't even know why they keep going to the doctor, but they're like, oh, at least someone's listening to me, you know?
yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. So,
Mhm.
Miriam, now, how, you explain a little bit about what you do with the
Right.
TTP. What like got you into that? Like, what was it that you got into TTP? What brought you to TTP?
I tried it on myself, honestly. So I, had previously a lot of trauma in my life, and I always felt like in fight or flight. And I literally was like word of mouth. Like a friend told me I should go try it. And, the beginning, the first couple sessions actually made it much worse. Like
Wow.
everything started coming up and I started having like really strong fears. But I continued going, thankfully. And after like, 6 or 7 sessions, I all of a sudden realized that, I'm actually starting to pursue whatever I wanted to pursue. I'm calmer. My life doesn't feel like a war zone. I'm not fighting. So, and then I decided I really want to go into this because this is like something that changed me so, so much, so drastically that I felt like I have to like move, pay it forward in a way. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't know about it, but because I personally saw such a huge difference in me, so that's really the reason why I want to do it. There's no
Yeah.
other objective.
Now you went to a practitioner, obviously, uh,
Yes.
and
Mhm.
and so when you decided you wanted to do, what was the next step? Like, what did you enroll in a course or
Yeah.
a school, or how did that work?
Yeah, so it's a lot of online courses. The doctor actually the Dr. Terrell is the one that came up with this modality. He lives in Texas, so he flies down like 3 to 4 times a year to do actual classes
Hmm.
in person. And then we do like with a supervisor in the beginning when we get the clients, the first couple of clients, and then you graduate. If you follow all the rules and you get tested and finally you get your certificate, which was pretty exciting.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And where do you practice? Out of your house, or is it
No, I
like you have?
have an offer.
You do. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
I
I'll
know.
share some of the details in the description of the podcast, and so
Oh, thank
people will
you.
know how to get in touch with you. So I want to now, get back to talking about again a little self promotion, but I'm not really.
Okay, so no, definitely. I'd love to
It's
go.
not,
Help me so much
it's not
already.
really self promote. I just want to. I'm just excited to talk with someone who read the book,
Right.
who because in my book Brain Drain, I talked a
hmm
lot about the automatic brain. I laid the framework, and the way that I came up with this idea was again, and that's that kind of just came to me. a patient wanted more input between office visits. He wanted to be more
Mhm.
motivated. He said he lost track and he just got off track, and he wanted me between office visits to be able to motivate him. And so we came up with this idea of a weekly message. And that message
Right.
grew and grew and grew into chapters of my book, Brain Drain. And I didn't um, have an outline. I didn't know what I was going to talk about. Every chapter of Brain Drain came to me during meditation. And I really believe that, and that came to me through my Holy Spirit, if you will, my inner guidance, um,
Mhm. Intuition.
intuition, whatever you want to call it, we all have it. And that's how it came to me. In Fear is a Liar, I developed that connection much more. And
Wow.
and I bring it out. And I want, Miriam, tell me a little bit about your experience with reading my book and how it's affected you in your personal life, in your professional life, and we'll talk a little bit about CrossFit life.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I love the idea of meditation because that's very big in my life. I think when you get to sometimes you experience things in life that are like sink or swim. So you have two choices, either you sink or swim, right? That's when you somehow yeah, you know that you have to rely on yourself more in a way because like you need to be your own support system. Not everyone gets that such a situation in life, but some people do. And that's when I learned about meditation and breathing, all those things. And all of a sudden, I started feeling more confident in myself. Like I was getting ideas. I didn't know where the ideas were coming from, right? So thankfully, we have ChatGPT and all that stuff. So you can really dive into that through that. And I realized, like, that is intuition. That's literally like what you call like a higher power or, God or whatever. It's coming through you and giving you ideas and helping you out of situations where you wouldn't have necessarily been able to do by yourself. So that's a brand new thing that I discovered about myself. And then I was talking to you, and I didn't look around telling people about it, right? It's not
Right.
something you talk about. And then you were saying that you had the same thing. I'm like, wait a second. So, there's probably much more people than us, but they're just
Yeah.
not like, sharing it at the dinner table.
Yeah.
So, and coming back to your book, so I realized that the mind, it's basically is the mind. It's like the higher mind. You call it like some people call it the higher power or super consciousness, but you call it the mind, right? I would say it's
Yeah.
the same thing. Would you agree?
Yeah. So what I define as the mind is that divine imprint. That
Okay.
in my belief, we're all created in the image of our Creator. And what is
Right.
the image of our Creator? The image of our Creator is not flesh and bones. The image of our Creator is a higher consciousness, and
Yes.
that to me is the mind.
Exactly. So a lot of things that you see with fear, like in your book, Fear is a Liar, is a lot of things that like religion puts in that's very fear-based. Like if you do this and this, you'll be punished and all that. That didn't really resonate with me because I was like, it sounds very manly. It sounds very human, right?
Yes. Yep.
Something that's so, expansive and higher must be more loving and more caring and more, compassionate. So that's what I really loved in your book, where you explain that. I'm like, yeah. So I read like it helps me like if I do something, I always think, is it coming from my autonomic brain, the primitive brain, or is it coming from my higher part? Like, is it aligned with, that reflection? Is it aligned with compassion or humility? So it really does it like life becomes much simpler if you just have like a map. It's literally
Yeah.
a map for people that are lost, I think. Also.
Yeah. Well, I'll give a good example with me and how I apply it to
Okay.
my life with the AB. So I was dealing with a little bit of a kind of tweaky little thing in my shoulder area. So, excuse me, when we go to CrossFit, CrossFit is a very vigorous type of exercise. Just digressing for a second, it's
Yeah.
the kind of exercise that I feel is very important as you age. And Um, because not only is it physical fitness, but it's mental fitness. And it puts you in uncomfortable situations where your AB is telling you to stop because it's dangerous. But the more you don't stop and the more you persevere, the more you dangerous situation, truly dangerous situations, or the things that the ridiculous stuff that your AB is calling danger,
Mhm.
they don't really mean anything because you're strong and you persevere, and it helps nurture self-discipline. But when you have like a little like the AB, as Miriam would say, is like a narcissist. It plays
It
by the
is.
narcissistic
Yeah.
rules,
Uh-huh.
by manipulation, seduction, lies, gaslighting, and drama. Those are the five
Mhm.
tools that the AB uses. And so the AB will tell me, okay, you have a little tweaky thing in your shoulder area. You shouldn't go to CrossFit. Okay, that's the worst thing. When you have an injury, people say, "Oh, you got to rest. You got to rest." Well, not really, because if you rest, other parts of your body break down. Your mental fitness starts deteriorating. So you find
Mhm.
ways that you could still exercise, but modify it. Okay, so
Right.
the first
That's what
manipulate,
CrossFit is great with that. They always modify. So when
absolutely.
I'm
So
not
the AB
CrossFitting, I'm
tells me, "Oh no, you can't go." So I push through that and I go. So now I'm there. So what does the
Mhm.
AB say? Oh, everybody else is doing doing 30 pull-ups or whatever. You could do that, whatever.
Mhm.
Really? I'm going to do that with the little thing in my shoulder? No. So it's manipulating me. It's telling me I'm weak.
Extremely.
I'm a loser because I
Mhm.
can't do that. Okay? Because
Wow.
whatever it is, I'm just throwing out a number, not, you know.
Yeah.
So so it'll tell you you can't win when you play with the AB. What if you do this, it's going to tell you you should have done that. If you do
Mhm.
that, it's going to tell you you should have done this. You're just
Always.
bouncing
Yeah.
back and forth
In a
because
loop.
there's
Yeah.
danger in everything you do. So, what would be the higher mindful thing to do? The higher mindful thing would be to go to the class, to modify it, to do one pull up or push up or
Mhm.
whatever it is, one or a modified or whatever you want to do, and then you build on that as you rehab. That would be the mindful thing to do, the sensible thing to do, the common sense thing to do. And that's when you follow your mind instead of your AB, when it's bouncing around no matter what you do. And I can tell you that
Right.
that's just one clip that's very raw to me because it's very current. But there's so many other examples, and I give them in my book that it's bouncing around. I'd like, if you feel comfortable sharing this, Miriam, about
Okay.
your idea of doing the podcast today and how your AB was playing with
Yeah.
you about that.
Exactly. I mean, literally, like you came up, we both came up with this idea. We should do it together. And I was like, first of all, who do you think you are? Like
Right.
that was my AB straight talking. Like,
Right.
yeah, like sit back down. And also you can embarrass yourself and like all kinds of insecurities and like on and on and on, just like wouldn't shut up. And then I was like, okay, I think this is really good if I would do it. My mind, that was once I stopped a second and realized that was my AB, my mind was saying, I think this is a very courageous thing that you're doing. And once you're going to start doing it, it's going to be more and more comfortable to do more things that you feel are uncomfortable. So I was literally going to listen to the mind part, and that's why I'm here. Literally. If not, I mean, old me, like a few months ago, would be like, oh, forget it. Like this is ridiculous. And it would go around and around and around until I would be like, you know what? I'm not doing it. Just quiet,
Right.
like AB, be quiet and fine, you win.
Right.
You
So
know?
that's the thing. So the AB says, "Oh, who are you? You're not worthy." And you
Yeah.
say, "Okay, well, screw that. I'm going to do it anyway." But then the
Yeah,
AB says,
exactly.
"Oh no, you're going to embarrass yourself now. Whatever." And
Hmm.
what we're talking about, what I'll share personally, I
Yeah.
tell the story in the book, "Fear is a Liar," about my blood pressure incident when I was in medical school. And I won't go into the
Hmm.
details about that, but basically that locked in the trauma of white coat syndrome. I developed
Okay.
white coat syndrome at that moment. Okay. And I tell the story, I'm not in the book. And so if that was so throughout that really, I have to say that really was the the impetus, the nidus of me thinking about fight or flight, the automatic brain, mind. It really stems from that because basically my blood pressure going up when somebody is taking it, my physiology is reacting the exact same way as if somebody was going to cut my throat,
Unbelievable.
right?
It's
The
yeah,
same
it's truly
exact
unbelievable.
physiology, same things are happening in my body. So I had to look into that, right? And so
Hmm.
that's how I came up after you know, doing this. And again, with, God's grace, giving the wisdom to do that.
Right.
So that was the nidus, that was the impetus. So that affected me throughout medical school, whatever. But I don't have high blood pressure. I have so many readings of my blood pressure. It's like obsessive, right? That it's so far from the truth
Hmm.
that I have high blood pressure. Yet, when I went to have I got over the fear of actually going to a doctor. Okay, doctors get that, right? So
Yeah.
I wanted to find out what the heck is going on with my air.
What's
I
going
figured
on?
out it wasn't my
Hmm.
shoulder. It's been going on for too long. Let me go. I had a friend at a major medical center, really kind of world renowned in this particular type of diagnosis, the way he uses ultrasound diagnosis. And so he was able to pinpoint exactly what was bothering me. So I got up my nerve, and I'm so glad that I went there. And my blood pressure was high when the assistant took it. So in the
Beautiful.
past, I would have, oh man, what's wrong with me? I'm weak. I'm a loser, whatever.
Again,
How could
yeah.
it, again,
Hmm.
this is happening?
Hmm.
But we have free will. And in my book, I describe how that plays a big part in AB versus the mind. I choose not to live or trust, believe, or take direction from that AB firing telling me that I have high blood pressure because it's a liar. Because that's furthest from the truth. I have so many readings to tell me over the last 10 years that it's a lie. It's so far from the truth. So I choose not to trust that. Now, if this was important to me, and
Hmm.
now as you were saying, Miriam, if we can make the unknown known, the uncomfortable comfortable,
There you go.
then we could actually trick the automatic brain because the AB only responds to uncertainty, to possible danger.
It's
The
very dangerous.
known,
It's
I'm sorry?
uncertain. Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
saying it's very dangerous. It's uncertain.
exactly. So anything, any in the animal kingdom, you'll see animals don't go, they only go to certainty. They're going to
Stick
fight or
with your
flee.
tribe. Yeah.
Yeah, uncertainty, right? So when you make that, so if that was important to me, if I had to prove to myself that I really don't have high blood pressure, what I would do is I would do exposure therapy. I would have it done every single day by a nurse in a doctor's office. I would do whatever it was, and it would go away because I would make it a normal occurrence that someone's slapping a blood pressure cuff on my arm, and it's fine. So but it's not that important to me. It's not that important. It's not, it has no importance to me because I know my health is good because I monitor it. So, but
Hmm.
if I was going to listen to the AB, I would do that, and I did that a little bit. I would say probably in my late 20s, early 30s. Therapy helped me with that a lot, but I hadn't defined the AB versus the mind yet. So I was really bouncing back with the AB. I was, I'm going to lose control. I'm not going to be able to
What
be a
kind of therapy was
doctor.
that?
I'm sorry?
If I may ask, what kind of therapy?
With what?
Which kind of therapy did you use?
Oh, I did talk therapy. I did, well,
Oh,
so I had
CBT,
a,
like regular talk therapy.
well, it
Okay.
was a psychiatrist, but
Hmm.
he was really a psychologist with
Hmm.
cognitive behavioral. Like it wasn't behavioral therapy. It was really talk therapy. We talked it out. I mean, I got to a lot of what my danger memories, what were stored in my folders were. And
Wow.
that, without talking about it that way. But the way I got to a psychiatrist was there was when I was a medical student, one of the attending doctors who would teach us during our psych rotation, he was such a great guy. And I thought to myself, if I ever needed therapy or a psychiatrist, I'm going to look this guy up. And
Going
that's
down.
exactly what I did when I started medical practice. Because before before anybody defined it as the imposter syndrome, I
Hmm.
had it. So I was 28 years old when I became a doctor in private practice. So and here I was, my blood pressure went out of control when somebody took it. I was really insecure. So I remember if a patient saw me outside the office, it would be, I'd get really like, I'd turn
Yeah.
red, I'd feel like, little, whatever. And that's because I was found out as
Yeah. I also like one thing is in your book, it says like when you started your concierge thing. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
oh yeah, sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I remember like you were like about to not do it, right? Because you
Uh-huh.
were like it was so uncomfortable, so unconventional, and you felt like you're gonna be like a high society doctor or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if I yeah, I remember it, that really
Yeah.
stood out. Like imagine you wouldn't have done it. Like you have to like
Oh
put
my
it
goodness. Yeah.
right. You were
You,
burning out.
yeah. I mean, that's why, fear it's so convincing. The AB is so convincing. So when my heart is pounding, right?
Mhm.
And my blood pressure shows that it's, 160, 170 or whatever. The bottom number was low, but that number, because that's what happens when you exercise or when the fight or flight goes, that top, you want that top number to go up.
Mhm.
But that is a number. Okay. Your heart beating,
Yeah.
you could feel it. It's real, right?
You
It's
start panting, you can't breathe, you literally
exactly.
feel
You get into
yeah,
that cycle.
yeah.
So it's what it does is it distracts you from what's really bugging you. All right. So let's say it's whatever's bugging you is in one of those danger folders
Hmm.
and you're going into life. Let's say, for instance, you're going for a new job, and this new job is going to it's going to be the job of your life. The salary is going to be six figures when your dad never made more than low five figures, and your household was
That's not
lacking.
safe, right?
Right. And it was all everything. And now all of a sudden this job is being offered to you and you go into a panic and your heart starts racing and your blood pressure goes up. And then
That
you
actually
say,
is a lot
oh,
of folders. It's like you're gonna lose love because your family's not gonna like you because you're better than us, right?
absolutely.
It's one upping,
Unknown, one
whole,
upping,
yeah, all the
the
folders.
whole, all of them, right? And
Yeah.
so, and so you
Yeah.
get into the cycle where, okay, I'm going to have a heart attack. So then you go to the doctor and then you say, oh God, I'm so weak. I'm losing control. And you get depressed. So they put you on medicine, right? And so then that goes back to the top where you start having the reactions again and the panic because
Right.
you're weak and you're loose. So it just keeps circulating. Meanwhile, what's up here is not being addressed. And that's what you're really fighting and fleeing. And so your brain is, again, manipulative, it's cunning,
Oh,
it's
just
it's doing what it's programmed to do to make you fight and flee the danger. And so
sometimes
by
it's keeping you in danger. It's actually making it worse.
absolutely.
So
That's the
that's the
whole
paradox.
key.
Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
where the paradox is. That's where the
Mhm.
lie is. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's really uh, definitely something that I think I live it. That's how
Yeah.
come I can write
I
it.
love parts of your book where it says like in the end it says like self-reflection. So it
Yeah.
gives you like a couple of like pointers that you should look at it and it gives you like where is it coming from? Is it coming from your mind or from your AB? And once you start using it every time you start feeling a symptom or having to make a decision, it's easy to make decisions. It's easy to follow your values. If you look, oh, it's simple to see if it's coming from fear, from manipulation, making you feel small. It's directly the AB. So once you
Yeah.
get it, it's like just something clicks in you. It's very cool when it happens.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can guarantee you. So Miriam, tell me, a little bit about before you read my book and how you think it might help you, like in CrossFit. So it kind of give the listeners and viewers a little bit about your experience with CrossFit, because when somebody says CrossFit, there's
Mhm.
talk about AB, there's a
Yeah.
definite fight or flight. Oh, it's, oh my God, I could never do that. You're going to get hurt. It's dangerous and all that. And I had a discussion with our coach the other day, and it has to do with even the participants in CrossFit. What are you really doing it for? So, and I'll get to what my question to you in a
Yeah.
second, but I answered, what I'm doing it for is lifetime fitness, full body fitness, so I can age and my body, but also my brain and my emotional life. Because by persevering and pushing through hard things, it makes your brain stronger. It makes you able to trust your mind, and that's the whole purpose of my book, to learn how to trust the mind
Yourself. Yeah.
and
So,
the
so like my main reason for a CrossFit was literally because
yeah.
I wanted to be able to do something hard for myself because I kind of lost trust in myself and
Mm,
I needed to feel stronger. So I would say literally I was gonna do it for mental fitness. The physical fitness is like the cherry on top for me. But mentally, I came in like I wasn't able to like run up like I don't know like 10 meters. I mean now I'm there for almost 2 years. It's all kinds of things I learned to do. So the fact that it like I can do that and I overcame that and I like who knows where I'm going to be in a couple of years. That's so exciting because you keep growing. Um, that's why I'm doing it. That's the only reason. You end
now
up really feeling great because you're physically so strong and you have so much more energy that I didn't even expect, but that came in.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
are there any areas now that you think, now, kind of thinking about the AB and the mind, how that might play in, let's say you're doing a really hard workout. What's some of the self-talk that's
Oh,
happening that the AB is generating, and how do you see your mind, trusting your mind to
right.
not trust the AB?
Exactly. So AB would be like, oh, first of all, you're tired, and second of all, like, do you see what you're doing here? This is like it's not even realistic, and you're probably gonna pass out, and then you're gonna
Right.
just come home and just eat more carbs because you're gonna be so crabby. You have no idea what goes on. It's like on and on and on. It's such an annoying like pesky voice that just keeps coming in, and I just used to ignore it and just override it. But now that I know it's my AB, it's just like I'm like, oh, that's cute. It's almost like I'm like, tell me, like, give me more. Like, what else have you got? Something that's interesting how it comes up with these very original stuff.
Right. Well, it'll do whatever it takes by all means necessary
Hmm.
to make you fight and flee danger. And
Right.
so what I like to use as a barometer is when I start getting more of it, it means that I'm pushing the limits. It's actually meaning that I'm doing something that's worthwhile
Oh,
or that's significant.
that's cool. So
Yeah.
this is like now I'm starting to get nervous. That means that I'm expanding. I'm getting out
Yes.
of my comfort zone. So
Exactly.
that's a good thing.
Because if you ever knew what's going on in my head, you would never even, you wouldn't read my book. You wouldn't want to talk to me on a podcast.
But run home.
You probably would call the psych ward.
Yeah, I think everyone would be in the psych ward. It's fine. I think everyone's
Right.
crazy. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
So
believe.
yeah. So it's definitely I'm doing things now that I never ever thought that I'd ever be able to do. And so a couple of those things are the reasons why I tweak my a little part of my, because you end up exposing weaknesses in your body. And
Yes.
if you have a weakness in one part of your body, it can actually show up in another way. So, um, I never thought I'd be able to do what we're called kipping, for the listeners and
Yeah.
the
CrossFitters.
yeah, of course, viewers, whatever. Kipping is a special type of movement that it's a gymnastic movement, and
Hmm.
it helps you leverage so you can either do pull-ups or this thing called toes to bar or something. And
Mhm.
so I really never thought I'd be doing it. And all of a sudden I'm doing it, but it definitely exposed a couple weak areas of my body that now I'm getting stronger, and I'm just not doing that for now, but I'll pick it
Mhm.
up again soon. So what am I
Right.
doing? I'm learning how to do a special type of jump rope, jumping rope,
Oh, so
which we
that's
did
what you're
today.
doing.
Yeah. So,
So you're jumping rope.
right. Yeah.
And
Double unders, whatever.
you probably felt like, oh, double arms, that's really fancy.
Yeah.
You
So
probably
I
think,
never
oh,
thought I could do it.
yeah, I can't, but I think one day I probably will, but not now. But you probably felt like everyone's doing all these different things. I know I have to be doing jumping rope in the back of the room, so I might as well stay home. That's what my ordinary brain would
Exactly.
say.
It's comparison, it's
Yeah.
being one-upped by
Mhm.
anybody, and that's the thing which the AB will have you do. You walk into a CrossFit gym and you see women who are lifting more than you, and you say, oh, you're a weak, what do you call
Right.
yourself? You think you're a man? What? I mean,
All that stuff.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't believe, trust, or take direction from it. And the thing is that it's a liar, totally. And when you trust your mind, you end up staying in your own lane. And I feel so much better that I didn't, withdraw from my activity, and that I'm going to get everything back and more eventually, but not to show anybody else. It's only for me.
It's
It's
only for
it's
yourself.
it's for my growth.
That's how you know
And
it's coming from your mind because you feel better. It's not about,
exactly.
oh, look at what everyone else is going to say. It's really you feel better. That's an indication it's coming from the mind.
Yeah, yeah. So, Miriam, it's so great. I'm so happy that you agreed to
Thank
come
you.
on. I'm
Sure.
excited to post this, and I'll put
Yeah,
definitely put ways. If you can, you'll send me some information if you can about what you do and
of
how
course.
the listeners and viewers can get in touch with you, and I'll post that. And I'll post some reels also about this podcast on Instagram, and everybody, just
Thank you.
appreciate the support, and
Yeah,
fear is a liar.
it
I'm
is.
looking to
Don't listen to it.
That's right, know that, and I'm looking to get an agent or a publisher, and hopefully that'll happen soon. If it's meant to be, it will.
Right.
And so thanks again, everyone, for
Yeah.
listening. And until
Thank you so
next
much.
time, yeah,
Yeah. Take
thanks,
care.
Miriam. And until
Okay.
next time, I'm Dr. Charles, aka Coach MD, urging you to stay strong in mind, in body, and right here in soul.
There you go.
Bye for now.
Take care.